How's it going, everyone? This is Carlisle. This is the first time I'm actually doing a proper uh, build video for any of the specs that I use. And today I'm going to be showing you guys the Druid spec that I use. And actually, this is a very recent one. I've used some in the past, but this is the one that I find that I like the most because it's got uh, the best of both worlds as far as survivability and damage goes, for me, it feels anyway. Alright, so this is what I chose. And of course you go into full druid, mostly because if you want your pet to really be effective, you have to have all of your points in, not to mention Fey Mimicry is pretty much a skill that you're going to want to have. Next, I went into Shaman just far enough so that I can have Massive Blow, because Massive Blow pretty much helps to keep the big numbers rolling with the Druid. If you really wanted to be able to keep up with a full Shaman as far as being a valid burst spec, it helps to have Massive Blow to combine with Combined Effort and Resounding Blow. Those three of those combinations, and if you have Fey Mimicry up, that just equals some massive damage there. And I also took the little increase to health here, which is nice to have, and also to help with some defensive stats and to help increase the endurance. I went with 7 inside of a Justicar, and then put the 1 extra inside of here. And I mean, yes, I could have put the 1 extra inside of Shaman for something else, but at that point, once I got Massive Blow, I was more concerned about getting as much endurance as I can, or defensive stats. So as you can see, I'm sitting around about 30k at this point, so make it so I can kind of keep up with the rogues and warriors out there as best as I can. Alrighty, so now I'm going to try and show you my skill setup and the macros that I use. Alright, so the first macro that I have is heavy here. And this macro uses a Fey Mimicry, which causes the next 4 single target damage abilities to do life damage equal to the initial damage. So I combine that with when I want to hit big burst all at one time, I combine that with my heavy hitters, which are Combined Effort and Massive Blow, which both hit for or Resounding Blow, then Combined Effort, and then Massive Blow. And I only keep these up here so that I can see whenever Fey Mimicry, Resounding Blow, and Combined Effort are up, I pretty much just spam those all at one time. And they all hit for pretty good amounts. So that's my heavy attack. And usually, like if I'm fighting a healer, I'll wait until their health gets pretty low before I hit that button, so that way I can kind of catch them off guard and drop them down before they get a chance to really respond. Alright, for the spam, I have I only recently actually started using some of these abilities, the Ascended Powers, which is pretty sad. I mean, I don't know, I always kind of looked at it as a cheat to really use these, but I figured since everyone else is using them and they're a part of the abilities that they give you, I might as well take the best of it. So, Petrified Rune, so I can just have that come up as soon as I get into the middle of battle. Essence Strike, which is a Druid ability. Where are we at? Here we are. Which does a decent amount of damage as well, and it'll refresh the Eruption of Life, which Eruption of Life reduces the cooldown of Resounding Blow, which is very nice. And after that, Bolt of Radiance from Justicar, just so I can throw it in there. Charged Mirror, which increases your run speed by 15%, I want to say. Yep, for 2 minutes. And then Fervent Strike, which is your Druid spam ability. And I also have what I have called the Whammy, which is pretty much when I get into trouble, I decide that I was going to make this to be my kind of my oh shit button. So yeah, got Strength of Fey, which is right here. It reduces the damage you take by 50% on you and your pet for 10 seconds, which is pretty nice. So that definitely comes in handy. I mean, it's not so much a last minute button as once your health gets about halfway, it's probably a good time to pop this. And using Hidden Path to clear any diseases on you, and if you don't have any on you, then you won't actually be able to use it anyway. Overload, which when hit deals 20% of the damage to the attacker and heals you for 10% of the damage taken for 8 seconds. And then of course Renewing Seed, which restores your health over 12 seconds and increases endurance. So that's a pretty nice last minute jump. We got Charge here, and for Charge I have Ride the Lightning, which is a Shaman ability, and then Phase Step. And I decided to keep that separate from Fey Extraction, one, because I wanted to be able to use Fey Extraction kind of at my own will. Like, there's a lot of abilities that I know a lot of people would actually prefer to use inside of macros that I just choose to keep out just so I can kind of have better control over them. Something else I never really used a whole lot was Interrupts, and I believe these are all Druid abilities. I have Grim Silence, which silences the target for 5 seconds and interrupts him. And then Notion Theft, which is just an interrupt, and I decided to put Slumber in there. The reason being is, excuse me, because even though you're going to, the enemy won't stay asleep if you attack them, but it should interrupt any abilities that they're using when you initially use it. So I decided to throw that on there as well. Let's see. Throw that over there. Break free. And yeah, I have my break free here. This really isn't, I didn't realize I still have Hidden Path on here. I just pretty much have the break free here. But yeah. So aside from that, I have the heal from Justicar here. So whenever you build up on your convictions here, you can pop those to kind of give you some health, and they actually do fairly decent amount of healing. Usually around 1,000, if not a little more. You have Thorns of Ire, which I try to use before battle. This is one of those. This ability, Crushing Force, and Lightning Hammer are all abilities I try to use before I charge in at someone, if I can manage to get them off. Because when you're in the middle of things, and if they're a pretty heavy hitter themselves, and you're not going to really have time to use these, because they aren't really defining attacks. So I kind of have those there. And yeah, I mean, the rest of them are pretty standard skills here. You have Trickster Bolt, which is kind of your range damage. So even if you can't charge into the middle of battle, I have my Fairy Pet here. This is actually my range damage pet. So if I find that the range damage is probably the easiest one to use, because the melee pet, one, usually takes too long to get to the target, or is unable to stay on the target, or one, it doesn't do any AoE damage, and even though the damage that he does is really strong, it gets killed really easily, especially in the middle of groups. So I have that one there, or my Anne here, and the buff that I use is well, of course, is a Spirit of Asphodel. And when I'm in the middle of, or want to do AoE damage, I'll use a Spirit of Upheaval and Fey Dispersion here. Other than that, you got your shield, Eruption of Life, which, as I said before, reduces the cooldown of Resounding Blow by 1.5 seconds, and it also will do extra damage over time. And that's it for those. So other than that, the pets, as I mentioned, the ranged damage pet is the one that I like to use the most. On occasion, I'll bring out the healer just if I'm trying to be on the move and I don't really want to sit down and take time to heal myself. But other than that, the healer really isn't up to par. Like, the healing that it does is pretty bad. It's not so bad outside of Warfronts, but because of the healing nerf, I don't know if the recent nerf that they did to healing in Warfronts affected this or not, but it definitely isn't very potent. And another thing that I wish they would let you do is, I wish they would let you force the fairy pet to, one, focus you as the target, and also spam heal this fairy healing ability on you, which would really be nice, because if it could do that, then I'd probably use it a lot more often. And then you've got your melee damage pet, which side name lines Afterminius. Don't know if you guys get the joke there, but yeah, man, he's pretty good on damage, but unfortunately, like I said, he's just not very reliable in battle. So I focus on my pet here. Alright, so I'm just going to show you guys the rotation real quick. I'm going to use these dummies over here. Alright, so I'm just going to start off using having the pet use single target, and then I'm going to bring it to AoE. Okay, so what you want to do first is cast Thorns of Ire, Crushing Force, and then Light's Hammer, and then go in and start spamming. And then once you're able to get all of that out of the way, then you spam your, or you use all your heavy hitters, and then you'll use Eruption of Life, and then pretty much repeat that process. And of course, use any interruptions that you may need to use. Yeah, I messed up the enter or the rotation myself, but hopefully you guys kind of get the point of it. But as you can see, those are they'll hit some pretty heavy this thing. And just so you guys can kind of see the AoE damage for the pet here, it's not on par with some other things, but it's fairly decent for the most part. And not to mention it'll heal you, which you can't really see now, but those heals do come in handy. But yeah, man, that's pretty it. Gonna respond to this guy here, and this pretty much should conclude the video. So hopefully this helped for you guys. I know it's not quite as good as some guys would be. I don't really have the time to do a whole lot of editing, so I can pull things up for you, unfortunately. But hopefully it works well enough. So take it easy.